And this is part of the reason why we do the family meeting. And today we are talking about the mother and her girl child. It is the month where we celebrate the International Day of the Girl Child. It was actually in October. It was actually on October 11th of October. And so we as an organization have also decided to dedicate the month to the girl child. But you see, like we always say, boys to men. So we are saying girl to woman. So for every mothers in the room, you were once a girl child. And if you're able to get it right, your female children will be able to get it right. And so instead of just focusing on the girls, we believe if we can influence the mothers, if the mothers can get it right, they will be able to reach out to their children and help their female children to get it right. So once again, thank you everyone for joining. There's no family meeting without you. So welcome to the October edition of the family meeting. Yeah. So we're going to talk about this topic. But before then, let me see if I have my speakers around. Okay. Admin, could you please spotlight Dinma? I have Dinma in the house already. All right. I have Dinma in the house already. Hi, Principal.
Hello, Ebu. Hello, everyone. Good evening from my end here in Lagos, Nigeria, and greetings from wherever you're joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for accepting to do this for us. I remember you're part of the first panel that I had like 2 years and 8 months ago on this family meeting show. So it's really an opportunity to have you here again. Do I have Favour? Favour Osiri, are you here now? Is Favour in the house? Okay, yes. She's here. Thank you. Hi, sis.
Good evening, everyone. Greetings from
Yes, Favour is joining us from Port Harcourt. Favour, your network is fluctuating. Do you want to check that for us, please?
Okay, let me check.
Thank you.
It's fluctuating. Is this
Yes, kind of. Do you have a fan on or something?
No, so I'll have to switch. I'll have to use another device. I'll just exit and use another device.
Okay, so it's stable now. If we can have it.
I don't think it's from Favour, but it's muted and the interference is there. Stay muted if they are not speaking so that we can watch that.
Yeah,
admin,
can you please check? Yeah. Admin, please, can you check if we have anyone not muted? Okay, so let me read Dinma's profile. And please, ladies and gentlemen in the house, I always say this, our realities are different. And so please get ready. I will ask questions from my own level of experience on this journey. Your experience is different. My experience is different. So please feel free and get ready to ask your questions. If you want to raise up your virtual hand to ask your questions, we'll call you. And if you want to drop your questions in the chat box, that will also be good. So I have Nwobi, fondly called the Queen of Happiness and Human Flourishing, as she loves to inspire and educate people on the science of human flourishing well-being, and resilience. She worked in the banking sector for about 8 years before voluntarily resigning to pursue a career in creating replicable systems and easy to adapt solutions to foster human flourishing, resilience, and well-being in individuals, families, and in the workplace. She is a well-trained and experienced practitioner of positive psychology and an amplified positive psychology coach from the Flourishing Center, USA. She is a licensed emotional intelligence assessor and a practitioner of emotional intelligence from 6 Seconds Emotional Intelligence Network, USA. She is also a certified master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming. As such, Dinma has created several individual and family-focused transformative solutions, including Amplify Humanity Projects, Get Your Power Back Projects, Flourishing Together Couples Projects, Adolescent Resilience Program, and the Intentional Parenting on the Go self-packaged, self-paced audio program to mention but a few. She is the Director of Studies at the Institute of Family Engineering and Development and Master Trainer of Family Systems Engineering. Chidinma is a well-sought-after thought leader, coach, speaker, and trainer. She lends her voice to local and global conversations on individual, family, and organizational well-being and flourishing. In 2021 and 2022, she presented workshops at the annual Family Life Coaching Association Conference at the USA. She was featured in Guardian newspaper as the Guardian Woman in 2021 and continues to appear in leading national televisions and radios in her home country, Nigeria, to share practical insights that foster flourishing at home, work, and in life generally. Dinma is a member of the International Coaching Federation, ICF, 6 Seconds Emotional Intelligence Network, USA, Family Life Coaching Association, FLCA, USA, Life Coaches Association of Nigeria, ELCAN, and the Network of Family Systems Engineering Practitioner. Dinma is married to her partner in bliss, Nwobi, and they are raising 4 amazing kids with whom they are living their family legacy of raising other happier family. When she's not coaching, training, or authoring, Dinma will be found learning new things or playing with her family and building positivity portfolio through taking pictures, recording TikTok videos, and dancing. Even though some haters say she is stiff and cannot dance. Dinma, don't mind them. Who are the people saying that? Your status is one status I always want to see every morning. So who are the people saying that? Welcome, Dinma. Guys, please welcome Dinma. I'm sure you listened to the profile I read. And with this topic, Dinma is one person that can answer and lead us on how to handle this topic well. Thank you very much, Dinma, for joining once again. Guys, I'm looking forward to you.
Thank you for having me.
Dinma.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I have Favour Osiri Wisdom. Favour is an encourager, mother, and family life coach. She is the co-pastor of the Wisdom Place Church, a vibrant church in the city of Port Harcourt, Nigeria. She is a graduate of marketing with 2 postgraduate diplomas in education and journalism. She is a certified conflict resolution and negotiation expert from the United States Institute of Peace, USIP. She is a certified marriage coach and co-founded and coordinates the Wisdom Driven Marriage Academy, which focuses on helping people to build the marriage of their dreams. Favour served in a private Christian university for 6 years as the associate chaplain of the university and co-instructor of the Total Leadership Training Concept. a program crafted to raise the students as global leaders. While at the university, Favour co-facilitated the Reformation program for erring students for 6 years. She currently heads the Family Life Directorate in her local assembly. Favour and her husband are presenters of a weekly family show called Family Matters on radio for the past 6 years on Nigeria Info, Port Harcourt 92.3. She is the host of the couple getaway program called Love Reboot, which is a special timeout for couples away from business of life. Favour and her husband convenes the 360 Parenting Summit in Port Harcourt, which equips parents to raise a complete child. She is the founder and she is the convener of Nigerian's premium mother and daughter event called the Mom and Daughter Ball, a bonding event which kicked off in 2019 in Port Harcourt. Recently, she launched a model Inner Circle program, a yearly life advancement program. Favour is the convener of Complete Women Conference, an annual virtual conference for women. She is the author of the following books and resources: How Not to Marry an Idiot, Before You Marry, Stay Prayed Up series, a 31-day prayer card devotional for children, husbands, and their wives. She has featured on Nigerian Info, Silverbird Television, Wazobia FM, Port Harcourt, and Life's Journal on River State Television. She's excitedly married to Osiri Wisdom, and they are blessed with 3 wise children and many adopted children. Ladies and gentlemen, what happened? You have eaten too much poundo. Can we welcome Favour Osiri Wisdom? Yeah, this is the second time I'm having Favour on family meeting, and the last one was an amazing one. Guys, please welcome Favour to this meeting. Welcome, sis. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you very much, Dinma and Favour, once again for joining us. And thank you for every other person on this call. We are not going to waste your time. We're going to go straight into this conversation. But before I yield the mic to any of them, I just want to talk about myself. Growing up, I am that daughter that always complain about my mom and how that she's just too much. You know how your female daughter will just say, "Mommy, you're too much. Mommy, what's all this?" You know, that kind of a thing. And of course, while we were growing up, we can't say that, "Mommy, your own is too much." You know, but you give them attitude. I want to believe that I'm even one of those that my mom did not understand. I didn't understand her, and I didn't like her method of upbringing. And that affected our relationship for some time. But now growing up, now that I'm an adult with a daughter, I now understand that it was because she loved me. She was trying to protect me from the world that I am going into. She was trying to keep me safe, you know, to say, if you get it right, people out there will not complain about you. People out there will not pick at you. And so she wanted me to get everything. She wanted me to learn everything. She would correct. She was an angry woman eventually, you know, and because I've said it here a lot of times, how that I am from a polygamous home. But now I understood that apart from the fact that she was trying to protect me, she also has her own thing she was dealing with. And this affected our relationship. Not until now that I knew that it was because of what she was going through. And that was when I began to say, oh, okay. And my mindset had changed about every woman that I see around, the loving one, the angry one, the nagging ones. And I believe this is one beautiful conversation we should have. It's a difficult one because we don't want to talk about our not so palatable part. But I think because I am healed, I feel free to talk about myself anywhere. I have learned a lot in my growing up, and I really want people to learn from it. right now, so today when I sent out a broadcast about this meeting, somebody private chatted me and said, I'm glad we are talking about this because I am 51 years old and I have lived in bitterness for 50 years. I've lived in pain. There's conflict between myself and my mom. And I was like, 51 years old and you have lived in pain for 50 years. You don't have a relationship with your mother for 50 years. And I said, sis, we need to talk after this meeting. So I don't know how many of us on this show that fall in that category. And you have also started raising your children in that wise. Maybe you also have your female children or even your male children not liking some of the things you're doing, complaining about you, and so they are secretive. And and the broadcast I sent this morning, I said something about how so let me get it. It's that broadcast attracted a lot of people and I love it, saying that the conflict with our daughters are an unavoidable part of the maternal dance. This conflict bring you and your daughter closer, or it can draw or drive the two of you apart. But it depends on how well you handle them. So this evening, I have Dinma and Favour to talk about it. But before then, I want to find out how many of the parents in the house have their female children with them. Please, if you have your female child with you in the room, the plan is that we have our female children in the room so that they hear some of the things we are saying and we are able to heal together on this journey. I just want to see in the chat box if you have your female children, but if not, I want to yield the mic at this time to, okay, so we have people. Yes, thank you for Lashade Diko. Thank you, Bingbe, for bringing your daughters. So girls, you are going to hear, Olariwajitu said she has children here. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. At least this will help our speakers know the direction to go. So this evening, girls, thank you for joining. Maybe mommy forced you here. I don't know. Maybe you want to really know, you're curious to know what's going on here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much. And I believe this is going to be a lifelong lesson experience for you. And please, as we go on, if you have anything to say, just let mommy know that you have something to say. And let's raise up your electronic hand or drop the question or whatever it is. This today is for you and your mommy. So we're going to give you that opportunity to talk. But before I start asking questions, I want to yield the mic to Dinma. Dinma, once again, thank you for joining us. I want you to give us like an opening remark to this meeting. I yield the mic to you now.
All right. Thank you, Ebunomo, for the invitation. Thank you, Pastor Favour, Osiri Wisdom, finally getting to meet you virtually. And everyone who joined this call, I'm excited that we're having this conversation. So Ebu, I want you to help me moderate that. When you say like an intro to the conversation, please give me, how many minutes do you want me to do this intro so that
Okay, so you can do like 10 minutes, sis.
Okay, fantastic. So keep me on it because this is a conversation that I love and I could just get talking about it. So yeah, I come from a family of 7 children, and out of the 7 children were 6 girls. And so I have real-time experience of being surrounded with women and sisters. And then I'm also a mother to 4 children. And out of my 4 children, 3 of them are daughters. So it's a conversation that I'm very much familiar with experientially and professionally. And so in starting this conversation, there are 2 things I want us to not get into. That's not the intent of today's conversation. because I think it's important we start from there before we begin to go even deeper. First of all, this is not a call that we are putting together to point fingers at mothers, either our own mothers or we ourselves as mothers. It's not a blame game. We're not here to do a blame game because we recognize that everyone, each of our mothers, either our own mothers or ourselves, we have per time, we are doing the best based on the resources available to us, based on how equipped that we are. And I like to always remind parents, sometimes they don't like to hear it. I say we are all sojourners in this world. The difference between me and Kamara, my daughter who is on this call, is that I appeared on this part of eternity earlier than her. But I'm still a first-time sojourner. So it's still a learning curve. I'm still learning, she's learning. I'm trying to figure out some things and also lead her to figure out some things in her life. So I want to start with that to say, hey, we're not here to apportion blames to our mothers or to ourselves. And it's not intended that we called you here to guilt trip you. No, that's not the intention. Because, like I said, I'm a mother of 4, and I've been invested in intentional parenting for as much as even before I got married. I've been interested in what would make relationship better. Like Ebu said, I also come from a family where I once thought that my mother did not like me. Again, because I'm a middle child. I'm the 4th of 7 children. So I have 3 elder sisters, I have 2 younger sisters and a brother. And my perception then growing up was that my mom did not like me because I could not understand how she would apportion the chores that I hated to me. So growing up, I hated to wash plates. I could clean the house for Africa, but this woman raised in the Igbo culture and brought to Lagos by marriage, there is a belief in her head around how a woman should be raised. I hated washing plates. I hated kitchen. I still don't like cooking. I just cook because I have to cook. If I have to pay anybody to do the cooking, I will do the cooking. So imagine my mother, born in 1952, then raising a daughter in a society where women are taught to be, what you're doing to raise a daughter is primarily preparing her for marriage. And how else are you going to be prepared for marriage if you don't like to be in the kitchen? And so this woman will apportion such roles to me, and I hated it. And we did have our several ups and downs, even a time that she would say, you know what, you're going back to school. I'm not going to stress myself to go to the market and buy your provisions. You sort yourself out since you think you can do what you like. But the woman did not know that somehow she was helping me, because my father now went to buy provision and bought ×3 of what the mother would have bought. So by the next time, she had to go buy the provision. So why am I saying that? We may all have different stories. Maybe for you, your mother was the closest thing, the freshest thing out of the world. Mine was very doting, but just because of that aspect of it, I felt like she did not, like me. That was why she was forcing the chores I did not like on me. And predominantly, I want us to look at this. And then I'm now a mother of 4 children. The first shocker I got as a parent, remember, I said I've been invested in intentional parenting, learning, teaching, and being forward there, talking about the resourcefulness that we as parents should have. So imagine when I get a letter from my 11-year-old daughter, and she says to me, I might be 11, but I have the mind of a 13-year-old. And she began to school me on how I was, I was doing the best I could do, but there were still some parts of her that I had not yet known. And I must tell you vulnerably, that was a shocker for me, because if you had told me to rate my parenting, I would have given myself good scores. And I think that experience now transformed something in our relationship, where we began to now let them rate our parenting, rate the relationship, and tell us from their own perspective the things they wanted to, for us to do. So I'm saying that to say that even the most well-meaning mother could make genuine mistakes. So don't beat yourself up. That's why I salute every mother that is here on this call, because like I always say to my clients, the best thing that can happen to you as a mother is to be open to continuous improvement, continuously learning yourself, continuously learning your children, continuously learning what it takes, and then being in that growth mindset that I may not be doing this yet, but I'm open to learn about it. And when it comes to motherhood, of course, I know that there is a place for Ebu. You are keeping me on time, so when you want me to round up, just let me know. Whilst there's a place of fatherhood, there's a place of motherhood, but God has designed women in such a way with the unique features that He gave us when He was making us, which can be traced to, the structure of the feminine brain and the capacities we have as women based on that they are called things that a mother gives to the children. It is in the place of nurturing. As women, we are natural nurturers, not just the fact that we have the ability to suckle our children at our breasts, but it's also that God has given us some uniqueness in terms of increased empathy, in terms of increased impulse control, in terms of even the increase, like we say that emotions are contagious. But we know from research that the way the prefrontal cortex, which is the rational brain of a woman, is designed is such that we mirror the emotions of people so much more than that of the men. And so we have a larger capacity to present our emotions and mirror the emotions of people, and even our children tapping from what they are getting from us. So there's that nurturing part of us, which is why some school of thought talk about the fourth trimester, where as a mother, even after giving birth to the children, it's important that you have constant physical touch with the child, such that because that also does something to calm the nervous system of the child and give them a sense of safety in the world. As mothers, we have that thing in us where we are to give protection to our children. That is where, for me, sometimes my heart just bleeds for the women who may have not felt protected. Maybe they didn't enjoy secure attachments in their home, and you're wondering, how can somebody who is trying to even protect herself from the world and cope in a way to survive whatever trauma or childhood adverse experiences or even adult onset experiences, how do you protect a child where even you yourself, you're not feeling protected? Which is why in this conversation, it's important that we know that the energy we emit as mothers is contagious. Our children are tapping into it. And especially, I was having a conversation with a mother today, and I was saying to her, I recognize what is happening globally. And if you live in Nigeria, with the devaluation of the Naira, with how to deal with traffic, with everything, even how we handle the overwhelm, the anxiety, the stress, the worry, we could be projecting that to our children and increasingly making them feel unsafe. So that means, that's why when it comes to parenting, I like to say that what I call like the 3 R's of parenting efficacy. Remember, I said we are all learning, but how do I grow my capacity to be there for my child? It's so much so about my resourcefulness. How much do I know? How much resources are to my disposal? It's about my responsiveness. How can I respond in the moment to what is happening with me and with my child? And then it speaks to resilience. Life will never stop being tough. The fact that I have 4 children does not mean that dollar will not increase, does not mean that I shouldn't show up in work, does not mean that I shouldn't pay attention to my health and the other dimensions of life. So this one me, how am I going to be fully present for a child who is depending on me to give her nurturance, guidance, and protection if I am not per time, speaking to my own resilience so that I can even mirror resilience and teach that child resilience. So it's also important that in our work as mothers, in our relationship with our children, we should also be feeding ourselves. We should also be paying attention to our self-care. Because if you are constantly empty, you are going to just be giving them the bottom cup. And that is not just enough for them, because every child deserves a thriving mother. Every girl child deserves a mother that is flourishing. And so the last part of it, to wrap up just this introduction, is that as mothers, one of the things we bring to the lives of our children is guidance. And I think, again, that was what my mother was trying to do with me when she was guiding me to learn how to be a woman in her own understanding. But then I also see sometimes even I fall into that trap when I'm trying to guide my children. And I get that a lot when the teenagers complain to me. We tend to be fixated in telling our girl children what to do. You need to do this, you need to do that. But in guiding them, we are supposed to be helping them create structure. But this structure should be structure that is fluid, the structure that is co-created with the child. Imagine for a moment, in my own case with house chores, I loved to clean. Like I could literally sweep and mop the floor and it's shining, clean the louvers. You know, back in the days, I had this habit of using kerosene and old newspaper to wipe the those louvers, not only the louvers, what's that? Doors, those sliding doors. And you could literally be, and it was something that gave me joy to do, but it was still house chores. Imagine if my mother apportioned such chores to me and still probably add some of the ones she thought I should traditionally be doing, maybe we'll not have so much of the rift that we had, right? So it's even when we are giving the guidance, it's also how do we give the guidance? How do we help our children create routines? And I must tell you frankly, our oldest child is 20, and the youngest girl child of ours is 16. So even with creating routines for them, there's some resistance, especially when they get to adolescence and they want to start doing things on their own. So how do you manage that transition when they are no more fully listening to you and now they have a mind of their own? It still boils down to having the conversations. And trust me, it can be tough sometimes, especially when they are pending things to done, when the house is in disorder, when their work is suffering, and you're still trying to help this child to self-regulate and create self-discipline. But the key thing is we as women are wired to provide nurturing, to provide protection, and to provide guidance. And sometimes when we did not get it from our parents, I see two things happening. Many a times, we may become the parents we despised and find ourselves doing those same things that our parents did that we did not like. Or we could go the extreme in not wanting to, you're not wanting your girl child to suffer what you suffered per se. We now become overindulgent. We now begin to raise entitled girls. We now want to do everything for them so that they don't end up the way we ended up. But then there are still vital life skills that we're not teaching them, because that becomes, so sometimes I've been in sessions where I'm dealing with a girl child and the mother, and I'm saying that there's a kind of pseudo relationship going on here. The mother is oblivious that the child is craving real nurturing. You know, there's a word, like Brené Brown will say it, as human beings, we all crave love, connection, and belonging. And where there is an apparent or a loss of belonging, there's a kind of suffering that we go through. And I was telling someone, I said that not having belonging is as vital as breathing. So in our relationship with our girl children, we must ensure that we are keeping a healthy balance of belonging. And that's by creating secure attachments where the girl child feels seen, irrespective of what she's struggling with, irrespective of what you're trying to teach her that she's not learning. Are you seeing the child? Yesterday, I had a teary moment. I was talking with, so I'm currently, there are some ladies on the Get Your Power Back project, which is a project I do with women, right? To help them heal from past traumas, build their resilient skills and reconnect back to the authenticity. And I get a lot of stories where some of the women there, what is really impacting their lives now are various forms of adverse childhood experiences. And I can't remember the lady's name, but a researcher calls that concept the mother hunger, where even as an adult woman, you are still hungering for the nurturing of a mother. But because it's not there, it's still a void. You're still hungering for the protection that you would get. And imagine if your mother was, for example, like you said, dealing with her own stuff in a polygamous family and not building skills for it. Or maybe was being beaten or maltreated by the father, or probably had her own mental health issues or whatever form of it, and could not really be available to give you that. It still doesn't do away with that natural order of things where the adult child is still searching for it. And so yesterday I was saying that, so somebody reached out to me on the program and she asked a question and I simply answered the question. I answered the question and she responded to me to say, you just made me cry. And I'm like, I'm curious. So what about my answer made you cry? And she said, I felt seen and understood. Like that was spot on. I didn't do anything extra than just to speak to her as a human being and validate what she was saying. And so when we as mothers do not create a safe environment where our daughters feel seen, where our daughters feel suited, whatever they've gone through, whatever mistake they've made, they know that they can come home, they can call mommy up and they can speak with mommy. And I think this is time I should say that we should get off our high horses as mothers. Let me tell you, you cannot be all that your daughter needs. And I think I need to say this, all that, hey, I want to be the mother that my daughter tells everything and all that. If you don't yet have a teenage daughter, let me be preparing you so that your heart will not do bing, 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 bing like my own. The day your child will say, I wanted to say something, but I couldn't say it to you. And I'm like, me, I've created the perfect environment. I've tried to create the sense of belonging. How can you not be able to talk to me? And I had to tell myself, my sister, it's not, you don't kill yourself before your time. Because I'm just one of the influence in her life. She could have gone out to the streets and somebody said something that questioned her self-esteem. So don't ever beat yourself up if your child is not able to talk to you. Currently, I have my daughters having coaching sessions and therapy sessions with their therapist because there are things they need to navigate that I can speak to them as a mother, but I need that extra person. So how much of the suiting does your child feel? And how will you handle it, really, if your child says, I want to talk to Auntie Dinma, I don't want to talk to you. I've gotten friends who say, Mommy, please call Auntie Dinma, I want to talk to Auntie Dinma. Are you going to feel like, because even I can say, hey, call Auntie Zekwa if you want to speak with her and speak with her, I'm fine. So we must, normalize that and not kill ourselves when these children are, in a world of their own trying to get some things. Then how safe is your home? How secure does your child feel? Because if we are not building secure attachment, we're going to be messing up those children one way or the other. And like I said, unfortunately, sadly, some of us as mothers are navigating our own shit. Like we're trying to figure out life. We're trying to deal with past traumas. We're trying to build resilience. We're trying to navigate relationships that are unhealthy. So cut yourself some slack. Be open-minded to keep learning, to keep improving, but above all, ensure that you are practicing vulnerability with your girl child, age-appropriate vulnerability, where the child recognizes that you're not a superwoman and you're not claiming to be one. And if your girl child needs any help, any assistance outside of yourself, please provide it. If it's therapy she needs, give her the therapy. If it's coaching she needs, give her the coaching. Whatever she needs to be the fullness, because you as the mother, you are like the seed handler. And so what if, like, if you're a farmer and you have those beautiful garden to nurture, if the garden is going to need manure and you're not producing manure yourself, are you going to say, no, the garden is in my house, I'm not going to go and get manure, I'm not going to get what I need? Nah. You're going to get all the resources your child needs to ensure that that garden continues to bloom and continues to be the best that she was created to be. I think I'm going to pause here so that I'll allow Favour to speak. And then if there are questions as the conversation goes on, I will come back again.
Thank you very much, Dinma. Yeah, I remember I said 10 minutes and I intentionally did not stop you, because you started saying some things that are very important and I didn't want you to lose your line of thoughts there. This was just profound and you have touched quite a number of things. One thing I also had in my notes was this idea of this new world. I don't want my child to suffer the way I suffered. We don't want our children to suffer the way we suffered, but we are not also looking at how to do it well. And so we are raising entitled children. We are now the ones doing things because we don't want them to feel bad. We don't want them, and this is one big problem. It's not only for our female children alone, but for our children generally, our generation. I think that's one mistake we are making. We don't want our children to have the experiences we have, and we didn't learn to know the best way to do it. So as we are complaining about our parents, our children will also do the same, because there's always that lapse, there's always that gap that is pointing at we are not doing it well. So thank you very much, Dinma. I'm going to point out some of the things, and I'm going to bring out questions from some of the things you have raised. But before then, I want to yield the mic to Favour. Favour, so I want you to be conscious of the girls in the room. So while you talk, also try to call their attention, bring points that will also let the girls learn from the conversation we're going to have. Thank you very much, Favour. You're muted. You're muted, Favour.
Okay. Can you hear me clearly? I hope my voice is clear. I've been speaking since. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, the Queen of Happiness. Nice meeting you. You see why meetings like this are just so wonderful. Ebu, thank you so much too. Meeting you since that time last year in Lagos has just been amazing. And it happens that all of you somehow are connected to the people who are connected to me. Thank you so much. Okay, so I think our Queen of Happiness have said a lot, but I think we have a lot of our generation of mothers, our own generation of mothers who didn't have it smooth, because by the time you count, you bring like 100 mothers and keep it, you will hear from about same story. Some persons were fortunate for their stories to be different. I host the mom and daughter ball, and it's usually the event at the end of the day. Sometimes you hear all kinds of stories and healing as well. You will now know that you are not the only one. What has happened in all of these years is that we have a lot of us who were traumatized. Trauma. And it's because our own mothers too were traumatized, but they didn't know that it was trauma. They did not know it was trauma. It's now that English language has actually helped us to put it in perspective. We now know that it is trauma. I remember the last time we had this conversation, I shared my story unashamedly. I can say that I used to be a wicked mother. Of course, that's what I thought I was, because I also felt my mom was a wicked mother. But I shared that by the time I sat down after I had my first child, and my mother came to visit, and I heard her story. And I'm going to share that story briefly. I heard her story of how she was a young girl. Her uncle came to pick her from the village to help his wife nurse their baby in Lagos. And they got to Lagos, and the plan was that they were going to send my mom to school. But at the end of the day, her uncle's wife, the uncle now, refused that my mom wouldn't go to school because she wasn't educated. And that's how my mom was locked up in a room. You know, Egusi, I'm Igbo. My mom would be from morning till night. Some days she would not see the daylight. She'd be in the room because the woman was also running a restaurant. So my mother would be from morning till night, wouldn't bathe, all manner of verbal abuse, how she will never marry in this life, how she will never amount to anything. Until that went on for years. Of course, my mother never went to school, never. Until my dad, who was living in a public yard at that time, saw her and knew that there was this girl they brought from the village. How come nobody sees this girl when she comes out to go and take her bath? Because it was a public yard. My dad, the escape route was for my dad to marry my mother, to rescue my mother. So my dad approached that uncle, my mother's uncle, and I want to marry her. And good, I think they're all from the same village. And that's how my dad married my mother and took my mother out of that yard, and they started their life. But my mother lived that pain all her life until she started having children. I'm the first among 7 children, 5 girls and 2 boys. And then all the frustration, all the verbal abuse, all the attacks were poured on me as the first child. I got a brunt of that. So from a very young age, I knew when, even as a teenager, my face was always tight. Even till now, people still tell me that my face is tight. Even when I have practiced smiling, I've gone for therapy, I have a mirror in my house that I used to practice smiling. Like, I had to do all manner of things. Do you understand? But you see, growing up, so I grew up traumatized. So, and guess what? I started passing it down to the 3rd generation of daughter, who is now my daughter. A daughter, my mother was traumatized by a mother figure. Push it down to my mother to me. So I want to say that a lot of the things some of us have gone through is because of the way we were raised. We're just product of the kind of parenting that we're part of. And this thing became our normal until we encountered light. We encountered knowledge. Now, for some persons who have not been able to get the help that we have gotten, some people, it's only to pray in the church that they know. That's why you see some people, they are Christians, but they're very wicked people. Very, I don't know how to say, they speak in tongues. I'm a pastor by the grace of God. But you see, I now know that there's a place for prayer and there's a place for therapy. There's a place for fasting and there's a place for knowledge. I know that. So you have a lot of people who over the years became born again and they were now in church, but they were not healed. And they started raising their children like that. So what I will say is that whatever it is that have happened, we're happy that there's knowledge right now. And with educational platforms like what you're doing, Ebu, there's a reorientation. People are becoming aware that this is not normal. People are becoming aware that this is not okay. And they are turning a leaf. Now, it may be slow, but we're getting somewhere. That we can even acknowledge to say, I have a problem. There is a problem. The way I am, the way I easily get angry, the way I get irritated, the way I jump on conclusions, this is not normal. And then we begin to change. And then when we, the mothers, begin to change, we're going to see that reflect on our children. But again, there's another angle to this. If you look at the generation of daughters that we have now, in a bid for us mothers to be nice, to be welcoming, accommodating, some of us have also missed it. Some of us have also missed it. And we have actually soft-pedaled on really parenting and doing the work we need to do and thinking we're giving our children all the freedom. And now look at the generation of daughters, look at the teenagers and see what is going on right now. So for you to know that this other place, they came with iron hands to hold us, so we turn that. Now we're trying to loosen up a little bit and then we see what is going on. So I think there just has to be a balance. There are certain things. I also do not believe that everything about how we were raised was completely rubbish. I don't believe it. That everything about how we were raised. There are certain things, tenets of hard work and all of that we picked from our mothers, that if we blend it with what we're knowing today, we'll raise fantastic daughters. I think that. And for the daughters here, is for you to know that everything that we have done we did out of the knowledge and the information available to us. We are working so hard to ensure that we become better human beings, not just for you, our daughter, but for ourselves and for the world, to make the world a better place. And so we also ask that you understand and come with us on this journey, why we are learning together. So I think it's very, very important, so that we don't even think that I used to think that every mother my age, I mean my mid-40s, would think that their mother was wicked. But as I look back right now, I also want to say there are certain things that I termed wickedness that I see that has actually made me the kind of woman I am today. And if you look at some of the things that you can take, you look at the stress that you can take, some of these daughters of ours cannot take it. They can't take it. They can take it. For us, we grew up knowing how to abound and abase. If they gave you something very little, you knew how to. You knew how to. I don't know how to say it, but you knew how to manage. You know how to. You know how to not to put your eye in what does not belong to you. But some of the generation of daughters we are raising are the ones who want the things that even their parents cannot afford. What do I say? That the influx of social media, and some of these girls are seeing these things. We didn't see that part. So I think is also, as much as we want to be better mothers, we should also not lose guard and lose sight of the fact that if you tilt towards this way so much, it's going to be a problem. And we're already seeing with what is going on. Just take a sample. Just take a sample of a generation of daughters. Now, some of us are working hard, some of the children are understanding and growing, but if you look at it on a larger scale, you will now see that our mothers were not perfect. Some of them were not schooled. Some of them have not read any parenting book. Which book did my mother read? My mother could not even write ABCD, so she didn't even read any book. So she was just using native intelligence. And I can tell you, some of those native intelligence is what has produced who I am today. Those native intelligence is what will make me, I will never do Yahoo. Is what will make me, I won't marry a man for money. Is what will make me, I will work hard. Is what will make me, I will see an elder and I will respect and I will honor people. So we also need to know that we are on a journey. And then the mother-daughter relationship is not without conflict. It's definitely not without conflict, because it's a battle of wills. Especially it's a battle of wills. If you look at some of us as our mothers, our daughters are like us. Some of our daughters, there are some things they picked it. I have just one daughter, 3 children. And anytime my daughter comes back from school, my boys will say, drama. Drama. She's outspoken. She loves energy. She has energy. She has anything. And I know that I have to understand and say, this girl is evolving. My own is to be able to be applying those brakes, applying the brakes, but not to let you fly like you don't have any control. No, there are certain things has to still be in line. So I think I'm just going to stop here so that we'll have a lot of questions we will ask and go on this conversation. But meanwhile, I want to say thank you so much for putting this together. And a shout out to all the daughters who are here. Listen, we're the best bodies you can ever have. Don't let anybody deceive you. We may quarrel and fight, but you can't have 2 mummies. That's the truth.
Awesome. That's a very beautiful one. Favour, thank you for being vulnerable with us here. Thank you for sharing your story. And you said towards, I think there was a part where your conversation also went into the direction of not getting it right, where we miss it, because we're trying to protect our children. And I appreciate that. And I believe mothers and parents in this room now, you understand what we're talking about. Now, I want to read what Temitope said. Temitope said, my mother is approximately 80 years old and still often recalls the negative experiences related to when her own mother left her. These memories continue to affect her and she remains emotionally stuck in the past due to what she went through. Thank you very much, Temitope. And you see, this is what we're talking about. Dinma said something about the energy you expend is contagious, you know. And when she was talking, she talked about nurturing, protection, and guidance. So I want to pick the protection part. Say that a lot of times it is because our parents, our mothers are overwhelmed. That's why they did some of those things they did that we see as wickedness. And I want to ask this question, Dinma. How can women grow that capacity? I believe all the parents on this call wants to learn. And when you started your conversation, you said we should be open-minded. So what are the things we can do to grow that capacity? Like, you know, pressure is a revealer. You are trying to be, you don't want to, you know, all those, how people are doing no beating challenge. Throughout last year, I saw that. No beating challenge, no scream, no shouting challenge, and all those things. That means some people actually don't want to go into that. I know there's a place for healing and therapy, but how can we build that capacity? How can the mothers in this room, they want their children to love them and not hate them like we used to talk about our own mothers? What can we do to build this capacity? Talking about protection. Thank you, Dinma. I yield the mic to you. You're muted.
Thank you, Ebu, for that question. So your question is, how can a mother grow her capacity to be a better mother, right? That's the question.
To guide against
so
the overwhelmingness and how you lash out when you're overwhelmed. See somebody talking about our 80-year-old mother still remembers. Favour shared her mother's story, how that the suffering, you know, that aggression was being transferred. And I'm sure she didn't do it consciously. It was an unconscious thing, you know, how that you would just want to, you know that maybe you have been this calm since.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
I think it's thank you so much for that question. It's basically, you know, we have behaved ourselves into the patterns. How we are currently mothering our children, it's a pattern. And I like to, so I will try not to get too scientific, but every habit is a neural pathway in the brain. The way you talk to your child is a neural pathway in your brain. The way you correct your child, can you get the people who are not speaking to mute them?
Please, can you mute all these people?
So everything we do in life, including parenting, is habitual. We have become a pattern of doing it. And like I said, on the cognitive level, every habit is a neural pattern. So what you want to do is simply saying, how do I learn newer habits? And how do you learn newer habits if you, first of all, have not come to the realization that your current habits are not serving you? So that's why it becomes the self-awareness that this habit, the way I'm talking to my child, the way I'm parenting this child, the way our relationship is it serving me? And there are two ways to know that. It's doing your personal self-reflection to see if the methodology or the pattern you're using in parenting is giving you your desired outcomes. The second one is by doing an interviewing exercise where you are able to sit with your girl child or any of your children to review how your relationship with them is impacting them. That is why every family here that does not currently have a structure for family meetings should go and do one. You should have family meetings periodically, maybe monthly, maybe quarterly. And then it depends on where your children are at. Right now, we only have one of our children living with us. The other three are in different schools. So we get to meet once a week virtually, and everybody's talking about, okay, so what's happening, what happened, and then quarterly we review relationships, because I can't know how my relationship is impacting you if I'm not allowing you give me feed forward. So that's where it begins from. Because what I see happening in some relationships with parents is we like this fire brigade thing. When things have gone bad, then we're coming to repair. It's fine to repair, but can we be more proactive? Where we are setting systems in place that encourage the kind of relationship we have with our children, and not wait till things have gone bad to now start repairing. Because like they say, prevention is better than cure. So if you are proactively growing your relationship, it will reduce the incidences of the repair, even if we may fall out sometimes and need to repair. So if you keep doing a constant evaluation, personally and with your family, and you're noticing the gaps, then that means that you now have materials for where you want to improve on. Which is why I always tell parents, if you want to start all the parenting training, all the parenting workshops, it could even add to the overwhelm, because your brain will now struggle with which one should I implement per time. But if you have a goal-oriented approach to parenting, then you are learning per time the skills you need, either for the season or for a need or for an identified gap or towards your predetermined vision as a family. And like I said, if the skills, the habits that we are currently doing in our relationship are neural networks, thankfully, science has also shown us that we can rewire neural networks in our brain to two things: learning and repetitive practice. So if, for example, I'm having a conversation with my daughter and I recognize that what she's dealing with is asserting herself, I'm going to sieve into my arsenal of tools to bring out the resources that has to deal with assertiveness, and use it in my conversations with her, in modeling it. Or if it's going to be something external, then I'm getting external resources for assertiveness. That way, the channel, the learning is focused. The learning can be more transformational because it is goal-oriented. And that is another way of keeping yourself less overwhelmed, because already there are many things that are juggling for your time. So if we adopt a goal-focused mentality to life, we will be addressing issues that need our time in the moment and reduce the overwhelm. And like I say again, the second part of it is the practice. I see a lot of people, like I give you an example. We have the intentional parenting on the self-paced audio program. It's a 12-module program. And then somebody is on that program. You get it and you listen to it at your own pace and you do the exercises. And a woman chats me and she's telling me, Dinma, this is what is happening, blah, blah, blah. And what she's telling me was addressed in module 3. And I said to her, oh, thank you for reaching out to me. Have you listened to module 3 of the intentional parenting on the Go audio program that you bought? Now I'm telling you, this woman bought the program maybe 12 months ago, 6 months ago, 9 months ago. And she's like, well, module 3. I think I started module 1 because each of the module has 4 lessons. I think I started module 1. I'm in lesson 3. So it's not about attending programs. It's not about buying the courses. It's the discipline to practice. And I'm telling you, as a person who also have courses that I have bought that I have not listened to. So I'm not coming to tell you that all the courses I buy, I listen to them, which is why I said that your wanting to learn how to parent should be goal-oriented. So that if it is communication you are focusing per time, focus on the communication, learn the skills there, keep practicing it, grow your neural networks for communication, and move to the other. So that even the fact that your communication has improved becomes a motivation for more. Because when we gain little wins, we're kind of motivated that this is working and I want to do more. So for that mother, I'm just saying, have constant reflections with yourself. Have constant family meetings with your children. Listen to them. And listen to hear, not to respond. not to argue why you did what you did, not to justify, yeah, your generation, you have mouths to be talking. When I was your age, I could not bring this to, and I think I need to say this really. When it comes to, I want us to understand that generational classifications are just a way of recognizing a peculiarity of a people born within a time. So we have the Gen X, we have the millennials, we have the Gen Z. Please normalize not saying these Gen Z children and their wahala, because I tell you, every Gen Z child is at the mercy of parenting. There is no Gen Z's, no, they hear what. It's how the child is raised. Like when Favour was talking, and she said, my mother didn't have formal education, but she taught me hard work. She taught me this. She taught me respect for elders. Her mother instilled values in her. You don't need to go to the four walls of a university to learn values. So she may not have called it values, the English word for it, but she taught her a way of life. She taught her certain unconscious things that should guide how she makes decisions. And today she's running with it. So I always want to tell people, disabuse your mind that this thing is, they are teaching you. It's about a way of life. What's the culture of your family? And how does this culture of the family help you to meet your predetermined goals? So we don't really need to go to school to learn parenting. However, there are also learning opportunities, because what you become, you transfer to your child. Which is why I say to people, even the children, everybody's living their values, whether we know it consciously or unconsciously. But the learning we're saying is that, can we bring it to consciousness so that we can measure the effectiveness? So if you want to deal with what skills you need to learn, I think these tips that I've given can help. And of course, again, whilst in it, please normalize that failure, mistakes is a learning process. You cannot succeed in parenting without making genuine mistakes. So don't get fixated when you have a misunderstanding with your child, and maybe you say some things you shouldn't have said. When you come back to your normal self, you remedy the relationship, you repair it. If you need to apologize, you apologize. You take responsibility for the part that you played, and then you get talking about it, because honestly, there would be mistakes done in this path to raising children that we should normalize, that mistakes are not the finality or doesn't define you as a failure. It's just a learning opportunity for what can we take from this and what can we do better.
Thank you, Dinma. That was another amazing one. Dinma has talked about us getting learning. She said some of the things we have, you know, there are neural patterns, there are neural pathways in our mind, in our brains, and they can. So what she's saying is, you learned it, and so you can unlearn it. You learned it, and so you can unlearn it. And one of the ways you can do that is through self-reflection, asking your children, like interviewing them, asking them questions. And she has even given us one beautiful idea. You can have your family meeting, your own family meeting. This is a family meeting where we talk, we discuss all those things. You can also have your own family meeting with your husband and children, where you all sit to talk. And in talking, you are asking yourself candid questions. And when those children say some things, you're not to be angry. Nobody is to be angry. These are the rules, grand rules you will set before you start family meeting. With that, you will pick what they want, what you're not doing. Not that you're not doing it right, but you're doing it and it's not sitting well with them. Then you talk about it. Let them understand the reason why they're doing it. Some children can ask questions for life. They want to know the reason why mango is growing on the tree and it is not in the soil, you know. And so be ready, but you need to learn. You need to learn. Set system in place. She said that. She said you should set system in place. And she talked about repetitive practice. affirming yourself, talking to yourself. Because I was going to ask Dinma, a lot of times some people are not even aware. Like some people are so traumatized from the past troubles that it's not even, it's when people are saying this, they're not seeing it, because the only way of life they know is that way. And so pointing it out, their children pointing it out, they will be seeing it as, why are they complaining about me? What is it? What am I? I'm not doing anything wrong. This is me. You know those kind of people, Dinma. What kind of advice do you want to give to those people? What do you want to tell this kind of people? And they are justifying it. In fact, they will use a scripture to justify it. Right?
I hear you. And I see that. And I'm not also, it's important that we also establish that we're not saying that everything that our children complain about is something we need to change. So if, for example, you require your child to honor the family, maybe internet policy, or maybe device policy like we have in our homes, where maybe by 10 p.m., your laptop should be off, it should be submitted somewhere, and the child is arguing. Because it's important when we say this, they will say that you are spoiling the child. Having family meetings does not necessarily mean doing everything your child wants. It's understanding how it is impacting and being able, like Ebu said, to explain why we are doing certain things and why our family is structured the way it is. So for someone, if you keep getting the same feed forward, I like to call it feed forward because it's about moving forward, right? You keep getting the same feed forward from your child or your children about how maybe your mannerisms impact them or stuff like that. And you are that place where it could be your blind spot. And like you rightly said, maybe the person has been behaving this way for a long time, that's the life the person knows. And so it's like a bit of a shock to hear something negative about it, which is why it's important for us as people to explore having close friendships. So I'm saying like people in your life that can also speak to you. Sometimes one of the things you can do to even identify your blind spots, for example, relationship-wise, is to have people, not just your children, your spouse, your friends, your colleagues, people that know you from different dimensions of your life, to do like a reflection of their relationship with you. It may not be necessarily the same with what your child would say, but it gives you an insight as how your presence is impacting the people in your life. And if your child continues to say something that you feel is not who you are, maybe do you want to explore therapy? Do you want to go and sit with somebody that can, use another kind of microscope to help you examine where you're coming from? Because if it is hidden from your fore, you may not know. But somebody through therapy, through coaching, may help you even begin to identify with it. I was working with a woman who was majorly dealing with mother hunger. That sense of deprivation of the kind of relationship she wanted from her mother, but she didn't know that was what it is. So she was just overburdened with, she would be in this relationship, the relationship would not work. So she was weary about the kind of people she was attracting to her life, that sense of overwhelm, having chronic pain, all of those things. And whilst we were having conversations and we're talking, and she began to talk about, enjoying her tree of life, the relationships in her growing up showed up, right? And she began to see the relationship with her mom. I can't remember what I asked, what one curious question I asked her, and she just put her head down and started crying. She was able to make the connection with the sense of how she's still looking for home. Like she was still somebody looking for a sense of belonging, looking for somewhere to call home. That any semblance of belonging, she clung to it. Even when the relationship was not serving her, to let go was hard because this was the only place that looked like home. Remember, I said that for women, there's this nurturing, protection, and guidance, and we will always look for it. So sometimes what the people, your children are complaining about, you may not be aware if it's in your blind spot. You need somebody else to hold on the searchlight for you, either a therapist or a coach, and help you trace back where this all started from. So that's why, like, we keep talking. Sometimes we need therapy ourselves to really reconnect, or even coaching. When you try, sometimes I call my friend, therefore I need coaching because I'm trying to navigate this. So I feel like I'm stuck. Because sometimes if the person in the problem, like we say in coaching, you will not be able to read the label. You need to disassociate. And sometimes it's an external neutral body that can help you disassociate and see things clearly. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dinma. That's an amazing one. You see, while you were talking, I started thinking about this mother hunger thing. My dad passed. Okay, so for me, I started having this mother hunger thing. And like I said, when we started, how that was when I started recently that I started seeing, oh, my mom was also going through her own issues and all and all. And you see, my mom eventually now had dementia at early age, at her like when she was 79, she's 85 now. And so she had dementia and she can't even remember anything about her past, about her present. If you tell her something now, she will still repeat something, and you will say, we just talked about it. She'll say, oh, sorry, I did not remember. And so when she started drifting into that, I think that was when my own sense of awareness came up. And I wish she was still around. She's alive, but of course, she can't remember anything. And I started thinking, oh, how I wish there are a lot of things I want to discuss with her now. When my dad passed, my mom did not even know that her husband passed. And that time, I really suffered mother hunger because I wanted her. You know how somebody will pass and you will sit and discuss, talk about that person as in your grieving process, And I really, really wished she was around, She's alive, but she's not there. I did my PhD. I finished my PhD. I wanted her to. So I understand this mother hunger thing. I'm saying all this to say that, please, like Dinma said, if you know you need therapy, you can't afford to allow the pain of the past to cause or to damage you. You can't afford to allow whatever it is you're going through to destroy you, because I look at my mother now, she's just there. We can't really have any reasonable conversation aside from just playing music and she's dancing and she's laughing. That's all we are doing with her now. You ask, she cannot even remember. So she has 5 children, but she only remembers my name. I don't know why. It's only my name she remembers. And when she sees me, she calls out my name. She's my elder sister. My elder sister is always angry. Like, this woman is living with me and she does not even know me. Why is it that you are the only one? I guess it was because of the way I related with her, before everything went down the lane. So please, mommies in the house, part of the reason why we're doing this is to call your awareness to it. If you need therapy, if you need coaching, please reach out. By the end of this program, I'm going to ask Dinma to drop her contact. Favour will also drop her contact so that we can reach out to them. We don't want to grow old and our children are missing them. I am missing my mom. I want to ask her a lot of questions. There are some uncles that she used to talk about then. Now I am interested in knowing all these uncles. But she has forgotten, and these are part of the things our emotional problems causes for us. So I want us to take care. And Dinma said something about self-reflection, self-care. I think it was Favour that mentioned self-care. You need to take care of yourself. And part of the things you can do to take care of yourself is learn, unlearn, and relearn all those things that are not empowering for you. Thank you very much, Dinma. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Favour, are you still there? Yeah.
Hold on a bit. Let me just speak to what you said, sharing your experience about mother hunger. And, listening to you, I just thought if I could be where you are to just grab you and, give you a hug. I'm serious, So I'm just going to encourage you to like spread your hands and just hug yourself. Hug yourself for a moment and just feel that soothing presence. Like what you're saying is really tough. And I empathize with you. I hear you. Your hunger and craving is real. And that's just what makes you human. And, when like your mom is having some mental health challenges, she's not able to recognize, she can't be fully there. Nobody can replace your mom. However, one of the proven ways that has been seen to deal with mother hunger is for you to adopt a mother figure. Have somebody like is a celestial, like I don't want to call it a new mom because your mother is not the old mom, but like the way to represent it is a mother figure. It could be of course, somebody older. I'm not into that. Somebody younger than you, and for some reason you're calling her mother. It won't give that to them, right? That person can be a pair, it can be a friend, but an older person who you think like has some values that align. All the values may not align because you are all different human beings with different experiences, but someone you can connect with. Somebody is saying like your mom's sister. It could be your mom's sister. It could be an auntie. It could be a neutral person that is not even related to your family, but it's somebody that your spirit connects to that can be a mother figure for you. Let the person connect with the person. Cry with the person, be with the person. The person can give you that nurturing, that protection, that guidance as a mother figure. It will not replace your mom, but it will to a very large extent fill the void and like give you the feed. How when you're hungry, you take food. It will nourish that mother hunger that you have. So I wanted to speak to that. And for every other person here who is experiencing that, you can get a celestial mother, somebody who is a mother figure that can do that part for you.
Thank you very much, Dinma. That's profound. You see how we say that the coach also need a coach. Thank you for that idea. And it's something I'm going to look into. Do we still have Favour in the house? Favour, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
All right.
I'm here learning and soaking all of that. And thank you so much, Dinma. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Favour. So, Favour, there is a question in the chat that says, how do I cope with being the only girl at home with my mom? So this is, I'm sure this is from one of the girls in the room. Girls in the room, hello. We see you, we celebrate you, and we say thank you for joining. I hope you are listening to some of the things you're saying, and you heard what I said about meeting my mom. You have your mom. Please enjoy your mom's presence. Have those fights and settle. At the end of it, say, Mommy, I'm angry with you. Mommy, why are you doing this, right? So, Favour, can you please respond to that question? Thank you.
So I think, thank you very much. You know how generally some people feel that two women cannot stay in one place without fighting. So already thinking that how do I cope as the only girl, my mom? So you're already thinking it's a problem. It's how do I cope as the only girl? You're already thinking it's a problem. Like we said, the mom-daughter relationship is without its own challenges. However, because I'm sure the person who sent this message might be a grown-up daughter. And if your mom is here, that would be amazing. But from your side, what do? You are the one learning now. Let's say your mom is not here. So you're the one here now, you're the one learning. All the things that Dinma has said about probably maybe understanding the way your mom relates with you, and probably maybe you're finding it difficult. That's why you're asking, how do you? Number one, you must understand your own mother. You know, sometimes you want to carry another person's own mother, or you see how this thing is, I wish this person's own mother is my mother. Understand your own mother. And I think one of the greatest way to actually relate with anybody's understanding, To love Favour is to understand Favour. You know, this is the same thing I tell people, that when you go to a new organization, you want to work, or you have a boss, your first responsibility is understanding your boss. And if you understand your boss and know your boss is not like every other boss, there are certain things that cut out for your boss, there are certain things that make your boss stick and all of that. I think to a great extent, you also that. So avoid the comparison. You want to live with your mom, understand who your mom is, avoid the comparison. Yes, you might be inspired by what other moms are doing, because if you come with that eye of what other moms are doing outside, and your mom is not privy to whatever information that will make her open up to changing, you're going to meet a roadblock. So it look like, are you coming to teach me what? Do you understand? So understand your mom and know that there are things wonderful about your mother. Number two is that you also need to sit down to actually, there are good moments. You know, there are good moments, and there are moments, there are things that you remember, down memory lane, that are so exciting. You want to relive those moments. You want to see that, mommy this, and walk through. Sometimes we're so quick to look at the bad ones, and then we turn a blind eye to the good ones. And that's why I see some persons, even moms, we as moms, sometimes the only time we're very quick to point out some things when there's a problem. But we're very quick, we're very active. But when there's a good something, we become very passive to talk about it. The energy is low. The energy becomes low. So either appreciate something good or something you think is normal. But once there's something that calls for rebuke, we're the rebuke is like this. So you want to look at the areas that your mom have done well. Down memory lane, initiate the conversation about a happy memory or experience that you've had about your mom. There's something about mothers, you'll start laughing. Now, my mom is old now, but you see, as tough as I used to think my mom was, now, if I bring gist, my mother will be laughing. And because I know better now, by virtue of the information, I know better now, like the lady who is here now, let's say you know better, you're learning, so this is not the last class you're going to be part of, you're going to learn more. I will initiate conversation, me and my mother will go down, we will laugh. Now, all of that does something to our emotional bank. Yes, we may disagree, but we're not just going to disagree for more, because we now have pleasant memories that we're building together. You also want to look at, are there other games, other things that you can initiate, activities that you can do with your mother, so that you have sweet memories of her too, and she also has of you. You understand? No matter how tough you think your mother is, your mother still also have a soft spot. And there are certain boundaries about your mother that you have to respect. There are certain things she has told you, see this particular one, you don't go there. You respect it. I don't know if you understand. So don't even think that it's going to be, hey, as the only daughter with my mother, we're going to fight. You don't need to always fight. Will you disagree? Oh, yes. Even as a pastor, my 15-year-old daughter disagrees. As in disagree. But you see, am I going to kill myself? Am I going to say, it's like this anointing on my life is not working? How can a pastor, I'm not going to say that. Do you understand? So sometimes what I do, I just let it slide. And letting it slide is not because I'm feeling so bad. I just let it slide. I have come to understand it's part of her person. Like, for example, normally you think that pastor's daughter should love ball gowns. My own daughter does not love gowns. She loves jeans. It doesn't matter the program they are doing in church. Jeans, t-shirts, knapsack, bag, and canvas. When everybody is doing this on one day, I'm just trying to give you, because certain things, you just let slide. It's not a big deal. So that you're not just you're looking for a perfect mother. There's no such thing as that. She does like this, you look like this. So I think with these few points, I think you will be able to cope. Start with the mindset that I'm going to have an amazing time. Yes, she may be tough, like all of us, we have our tough parts, but with understanding, having shareable moments, going down memory lane with her, building other things to actually build up your memory bank will make you have sweet times and share. And the times people quarrel will not last. There are women who have very difficult husbands. There are husbands who also have very difficult wives. There are parents who also have very difficult children. But understanding and knowing how to navigate ourselves, then they have not packed out their load and ran away, except when the person becomes very abusive. When the person becomes abusive and the thing is toxic and is messing up your mental health and you're almost going to kill yourself. So sometimes some of us have also worked with very tough bosses. We have worked in very tough environments and we have found a way to navigate without losing our mind and understanding that's how this person is. And we still get the relationship going. Okay, that's what I think. Yes.
Thank you very much, Favour. Dinma, I don't know if you have a contribution to that response. But before that, so I want you to do the two together. There's this direct question I have here. And she says, my mom thinks she deserves to know everything about me. And when I tell her, she gets angry and start calling me names. What should I do? So I want you to respond to the two questions. If you have a contribution for the first one, then please respond to this second question. Thank you.
I think Favour has covered the grounds on the first question. The summary is accept the mother that you have. And yes, both of you should be committed to learning each other, being open-minded to celebrate the things that are working for you, the areas where you still need to improve, staying on it together. There's a thing about knowing that we're in this together. This area, we're still working on it, but we're in it together. It's when you're not. And I was also, the only thing I think I should add, it's also that place of only child thing. It's a real thing. So I just want to validate and recognize the young lady who is an only daughter. I have an only son, so I know what the dynamics is, especially where for our son is the youngest of the sisters. And so it's like, oh, sometimes they want to talk girl stuff. It's not with them. Me and daddy, we're in the room. Auntie is in her own room and is the only one in his room. So there's that lonely part of it. So we just need to learn how to navigate it, right? It's a reality. You have to help him to normalize it. That even for our son, he started to have imaginary friends, which I later got to know the names of the imaginary friends, because when he's in the room alone, and the sisters have chased him out of their rooms because they want to be on their own, and you can't force them always to have him in their room, right? So the young boy has to keep himself company, so he has imaginary friends, so it's real. And sometimes in my work as a positive psychologist, I also came to find out when I was studying about mother hunger, that some of the ways we cope is also having this imaginary friends, at least somebody that fills that void. So in addition to what Favour says, I want the girl to know that we understand that it is tough to be a single gender child in a home that has children of other gender. So there's nothing wrong with you. Your own is not too much. It's just the reality of what it is. So it's also like how I'm helping my son to understand that you have to come to a place of radical self-acceptance. Because he'll say, oh, when are you giving me a brother? When are you giving? I say, your mother is 46-year-old. Oh, there's no brother coming anywhere. So we're better got to learn how to live with the reality. That doesn't make it easy, but it's just to recognize that it is something, but it's something she would have to, come to acceptance of, and then applying what Favour has said to also work out the relationship with the mother. And I've also seen some mothers sometimes being too tough on their only daughters because they don't want her to make mistakes. They don't want her to come out as wrong. And so there's something I put down here when I was preparing for this, and it was a caution I wanted to give to mothers, and it actually also spoke to me. Whilst we are trying to help our children to improve, please, let's not sacrifice sense of being on the altar of self-improvement. like you literally kill what makes a person a person. Your child begins to lose their identity and just that thing of being human because you want, there's no perfect child anywhere. Even if you attend all the parenting courses in this world, you will never raise a perfect child because perfection is an illusion. So you only have the child you have to raise. And so whilst you're guiding the child to improve, to be the best they can be, please don't kill them. Don't kill them, not literally. Don't kill the essence of who they are. Allow them to be themselves. Allow them to have their mannerisms. Allow them to have even their faults and their weaknesses that you are improving. Because one mistake mothers make, which we often make with only children, only sex children, is you feel that's the only opportunity you have to raise a child. And so you are too much on them, either wanting them to be almost perfect, or you are too much on them, either being overindulgent, that you also make them become entitled. So it's always dancing. It's a dance between what do I give you and how do I help you improve. That's what I wanted to add there. I've forgotten the second question.
So my mom thinks she deserves to know everything about me. And when I tell her, she gets angry and start calling me names. What should I do? I want you to respond to that question as short as possible. Did you get the question?
Yes, I get the question. What the young girl can do is what she can do. She can't do the part of her mother to come to the understanding that she's almost asking the impossible. And maybe the mother who is asking that the girl should tell her everything, did she tell her own mother everything? So we want to start from there. Sometimes we're making demands of the children that we did not live up to. And I want mothers to normalize this. You will be putting yourself under undue stress. Raising a child and juggling life is enough responsibility to be adding another layer of it, of expecting that your child should tell you everything. I don't know if that is possible. However, don't keep yourself fixated in that box. So what the young girl can do is, and again, one thing I also see, when we begin to put pressure, like the young lady is experiencing, when the mother is calling her names for not telling her things, you are even further making her not going to tell you things. You want to be, how does somebody grow vulnerability with a person? Vulnerability grows with trust. Vulnerability grows with a safe space. Vulnerability grows with how you are able to manage the information I give you. And I've not even told you the thing, but you are calling me names because I've not told you. I'm not going to tell you, because it just means that we don't have the kind of relationship that encourages me to tell you what you want me to tell you. Right? So for the place of the young girl, what you can do as a young girl is to let your mom know how the pressure that she's putting on you to tell her everything is impacting you, if she would listen. If she would not listen, what you have to do is to save yourself. And how do I say save yourself? Soak yourself into learning emotional intelligence. If you get to understand your mother better and know probably her reflection of wanting you to tell her everything is actually well-meaning, even though she may not be doing it right. It's out of love for you. She wants to connect with you, even though the connection, the way she's going about it might not be what you want. That could help you begin to feel compassion towards her. And as you feel you want to be vulnerable enough that the relationship warrants, you could open up. But please, I want you to also speak to your soul so that you are not always in a sad place or you slide downwards because of the harsh words. The words may be harsh. The name she's calling you may not be what you want her to call you. But I don't know how old you are, but I want you to begin to grow into recognizing that she's doing the best she knows. It's just this, she needs to learn better, improved ways of doing it. But you're going to get to that place where you're going to say, I wouldn't be a doormat for the bad words. Try as much as possible to have good friends around you, aunties or people you can talk to that can help you to make a sense of it. But just know that It's your responsibility to also protect your soul and not allow your soul to be damaged by the harsh words. I wish your mom was here to know that those words are not impacting you well, but then you also would take responsibility to protect yourself. But I know you are a child, and this is not what you want from a mother. So my heart is with you. I don't know. I just want to hug you and say, take care of yourself and get the nurturing, the guidance, and the protection that you may not be getting adequately from your mom, from other mother figures in your life.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Favour. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I truly appreciate you. And thank you, Dinma, once again for this amazing time. We're running out of time. I want us to be out of here latest by 9 p.m. Thank you, everyone that has joined in and are still with us now. I want to believe you have learned something. If you have, please drop in the chat box. Let me know. It's not just that your videos or you're just online and you're not with us in the room. Just drop something in the room. Let's know that your time has not been wasted. Let's know, let's hear from you. How far has it been? Have you learned something? While I am waiting to read from you, I just want to do like a summary and to just point out some of the things that our speakers, our guests that mentioned this evening. And that is, remember, Favour said something very profound. She said, there's a place for prayer and there's a place for emotional healing. So get healing, get therapy if it is necessary. Please, it's not everything you pray for. Even the good book says you should renew your mind, and that is learning and unlearning, taking some things out and working on yourself. Be open-minded, get learning, create a new better and a new neural pathway for yourself. Get therapy, it is needed. Guide your children to create structure. Mommy's in the house, guide your children. Don't force, not to force, just guide them, help them see it, right? Help them see and create the structure. Help them to so mirror resilience. That's another way for your children to learn, mirror resilience. And you're able to do that from a place of peace. So if you need healing, if you need therapy, very important. We're going to drop our details and we're going to talk about it later. Understand and manage the transition. You know, when Dinma mentioned that you should understand and manage the transition of your children, I remember how that right now my daughter is in the university and there are some things, you know, when she came home for the holidays, there are some things I'll be like, oh, so you now do this. Remember when I said, and she'll say, Mommy, how old am I? How old was I when you were saying all these things? I have grown. Mommy, why are you always going back to when you talk? At least you can see I'm doing it now. The truth of the matter is when we are saying it, they are listening. It seems to us that they are not listening or they are not ready to take what we are teaching them. But the truth is they are listening. And when the time comes, they will do it. You will just see it. So a lot of things, when she came home from the holiday, I was just like, oh, okay, really? So when I call her attention to it, she'll be like, Mommy, why do you have to do that? At least I'm doing it. I'm grown up. I'm a grown-up girl now. So they are listening. Just ensure that you understand and manage that transition well. And you will celebrate it because you will enjoy the peace, right? For the children, your mothers are doing the best they know. Your mothers are doing the best they know. Please don't be angry with them. What can you do? At those moments they're angry, you can just make them happy, or after everything, just say, Mommy, but why were you angry that time? You know, just create a conversation. You will see your mommy melt. And that's how you build friendship. Favour said something the other time, create memories. For example, that lady that said she's the only one in the house, create memories. Mommy, let's go and watch movie. Mommy, let's dance. Teach your mother the dance steps. Mommy's in the house, please. When they say, Mommy, let's dance, dance with them. That's how to create memories. And when you do that, you will not even want to be angry with them because you enjoy it and you will remember. You will be smiling when you are alone and you remember those periods. For the children in the house, it is your responsibility to create your happiness, the happiness that you desire. Take care of yourself. Don't let mommy mess you up. When mommy is doing her thing, just be looking at her. At the end of the day, go and meet mom. But why were you that angry? What did I even say? What did I do? You know, by the time you come up with that, mommy will melt. Thank you very much, everyone. So let me just give my speakers 2 minutes to 1 minute to just round up. Dinma, are you tired? With this, we come to the end of the show. Favour, any last word? And please, can you drop your phone number? Please reach out to these people. Feel free to reach out to them. I'm also going to drop the office number if you want to talk, if you have anything, if you need. We talked about therapy. Ours is a subsidized rate at the office. We all know that, and take advantage of it. That's the office number. Sorry. This is the office number. Please feel free. Favour, please drop your number. Dinma, drop your number or your handle, your email address or something while we round this session off. Yes. Dinma, it's almost 9. Do you have anything to say to round this up? Then Favour, you pick up the microphone after Dinma. Thank you very much. Tomorrow is Sunday, I know. You're muted.
I just want to say thank you, everyone who showed up. Thank you, Ebulomo, for having me. Thank you, Favour. It was lovely doing this with you. Like I always, I like to always end every presentation by saying, you may have many things that are standing out for you, a lot of light bulb moments that came up for you. But what I would say to everyone here is, what would you start doing differently? Can you just recognize one area of growth based on everything we've discussed and try to sit on that one, break it down into sub-steps, look for the resources that you would need. What do you need that would help you bring that to pass? What do you need to start doing differently? Just focus on that one thing, even if it's for the next 90 days. And once you begin to see results, you will see how you will feel more efficacious as a mother. So don't get overwhelmed. Take it one step at a time.
Thank you, Dinma. My Port Harcourt sister.
Okay, so I'll just say this because I'm a person of faith, and you can put in whatever works for you. Now, this is something I started doing. My daughter is in boarding school, and I started every night. So we have this ritual. Every night we hold hands together to pray. Maybe it's just 1 minute. It's a consistent thing when she comes up. We just hold hands together to pray. Now, you're not a Christian, you don't want to pray. You can have like maybe confessions that both of you will make together. Try that consistently for the next 30 days. A lot of things are going to change. You understand? For me, sometimes because of my schedule, I forget to do that. She's big, she just comes to my room. Mom, let's pray together. Sometimes it's just a hug. Sometimes I just whisper something into her ears. It was not done to me, but I had to learn to start doing it to her. And because I'm doing it to her, it's a legacy that she will do to her children. And before you know, that cycle of toxicity and all of that is broken. So one of the things I want to recommend, if you're a person of faith, every night or just hold hands. There's something about prayer. I believe also in prayer. In addition to everything that we do, let's remember our children in prayers. As you are teaching them, there are some things flying in the sky, trying to distract them. So we cage them. So for me, that's actually my parting word.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, Dinma, Nwobi, Favour, Osiri, Wisdom. Thank you so much. I'm so excited we're able to do this, and we'll have many more of this kind of meeting. I saw a woman said, I have all boys. Don't worry, we're going to have mother and sons meeting, and we will let you know about it. With this, we come to the end of the October edition of the family meeting. Thank you, everyone. My able admin, thank you so much for being so patient with me. Thank you for holding fit. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. Thank you, and have a beautiful, beautiful rest of the day, and have a beautiful night rest. Please take notes. The address, the phone numbers, and the social media handle has been dropped. Please take note of it. Thank you so much. Thank you.